I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode and you won't miss out. So welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. Oh, wow. So, heart of the matter. Did you watch? I certainly did, and I enjoyed it. Heart of the Matter, the third of 5 new May movies premiering on Hallmark, between Hallmark and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channels. This one was on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Heart of the Matter premiered May 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it stars Amy Teagarden, Gail O'Grady, and Chandler Massey. The synopsis is as follows. Andy is devastated by an accidental death of a patient, but as she and the grieving mother overcome their sorrow through forgiveness, they learn that acceptance leads to hope. All right, so this movie, as I mentioned, aired on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. It was pretty deep. It's a drama about forgiveness. And how do you heal the heart? We see that the story surrounds a patient with an intellectual disability who dies while under the care of Dr. Andy Hodges, played by Amy Teagarden. Andy just finished her fellowship and is a cardiologist at the hospital. She's passionate about her work and takes pride in providing the best care for her patients. The death of her patient, Henry, it was an accidental death, leaves Andy doubting her ability as a doctor. She begins questioning her purpose and if she is really cut out to be a doctor. She meets with Henry's mother, Gladys, who's played by Gail O'Grady, who of course is filled with grief and anger from the death of her son. We witness the in-depth journey Andy goes on and goes through this journey. Going through this journey, she has to work through her sorrow and getting to a place of forgiveness. Although we didn't see an in-depth part of her journey include talking to a mental health professional, right? Yeah, I had to reread that sentence. We didn't see her talk to a mental health care professional. And the entire movie, I was thinking, well, when does that come in? I thought it would have been an important message to add in the story, but it was missing from that. In parallel, Henry's mom, Gladys, she has her own journey, but I don't think we really get to see that in depth of what's involved with a mother losing a child and getting to a place of healing. However, we do see her read the note Andy left for Henry. This was towards the end of the movie, and we see the scene at the gravesite, and we can deduce that she's on the path of healing, especially after meeting with the insurance guy. Okay, but I think I would have liked to see more of her progress. I'm not 100% sure what I would like to see, but it just felt like something was missing to me in terms of her journey, the mom's journey. This movie was really a heavy story, and I thought that this was it was a very good story. I was completely surprised about the accidental death. I expected something different, and so I liked the element of surprise there. There was nothing in the previews or the trailer that gave it away, and I like how that unfolded in the story. The story overall, I think, I felt that it moved me. Like I said, it was a deep story filled with a lot of emotion and a story about dealing with grief and healing, and granting others grace and yourself grace when you're faced with a hardship. So that message was relatable. All right, so let's talk about the performances. I enjoyed Chandler Massey and his depiction of Henry. Some people online, they did not like it at all. And it's not that they didn't like his performance per se, but that an abled person was portraying a disabled person. And I get that. I didn't find his performance to be disrespectful or weak. I believed him in the role, and I enjoyed his depiction of Henry. Amy Teagarden, I felt like she was excellent in this role. I bought into her character, and while there were moments I screamed at the TV in frustration, I was frustrated with her pushing Patrick away. I was frustrated with her going to the mom's house twice. I was frustrated with her quitting. I believed Amy in this role. I thought she did a great job. And I bought into it, right? Patrick, I loved him, and I didn't grab the actor's name. I loved the character, the guy who portrayed Patrick. I thought he did very well, and his patience in the role, or excuse me, I should say the character's patience with Andy. I thought the role was played very well. Now, Gail O'Grady, I didn't really like her for this role. Yeah, I didn't believe her in the role. I was able to overlook it because the story was that good, right? The script, I felt the story was that good. I overlooked Gail O'Grady's performance, or the impact she was having for me in this role. But I didn't like her for the role. The script and the story, I believed it. I was moved by it. And because it was that good of a story, I was able to overlook Gail. I just didn't buy into the role. I had really high expectations, and I thought it would be a movie where I needed tissue, but I didn't need tissue. I didn't cry. The movie was moving, yes. My heart was breaking for Andy and Patrick and Gladys, but I didn't cry, but it was a really good story, a really good watch. There was symbolism in the movie I thought was poignant. The walk on the plane with the fiance, Patrick, when he walked on the plane with Andy. And the pilot looking the passengers in the eye. Excuse me. And the symbolism behind that. I got that. Excuse me. And I thought that was powerful. Although I've never been on a flight where the captain came out like that. But most of the flights I have been on, I was greeted by the captain when I boarded the plane, and sometimes when I exited the plane. So it's the same, and I got the meaning. But I thought I like that symbolism when he took her on the plane. And then the lighthouse left on the porch. We got that too. I like that. And her mentor in the movie, Andy's mentor in the movie, I thought he had a really strong performance as well. I enjoyed how the story ended. I won't necessarily share that in this review, in case you hadn't watched it. Even Andy's decision on whether or not she should continue to be a doctor, I loved how that played out. I liked the messaging on using the word handicap. It was a little bit of education thrown in there for us. And I appreciated how they closed the loop on Charlie. I was wondering about Charlie the entire movie. And I appreciate when writers answer those lingering questions we have as viewers, right? So that was pretty cool. And with the exception of not buying into Gail O'Grady as Gladys, I enjoyed the movie, and I enjoyed the story that was told. And those are my thoughts. Did you see the movie? Let me know what your thoughts are in a comment. I appreciate that. All right, and that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Yeah. My name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.